Greetings everyone, I'm Kevin and it's time to play YaTBRzy for September. Unfortunately, in August, I was in a bit of a reading slump. I did not read that much at all, unfortunately. Yeah. So let's go into the books that I was supposed to read for August and how many of them I actually ended up reading. Yeah. So the first prompt that I got for August was a book with a yellow cover, so I chose Beach Read. I finished this on the 2nd of August, so I finished it pretty much immediately. I really love this book. I did finish it, obviously. So the first book of the month, and the first book chosen by YaTBRzy for August. So that is one down. The second prompt I got was the number 11, so the 11th book on my shelf was Intimacy Project, and I did finish this one as well. And this is where it kind of goes down. The next prompt that I got was Beach on the cover, and I chose Heather, which I have as an ebook, and I'm like a fourth into the book. I do enjoy it, but because I was in a reading slump, I never really got into it to the point that I just kept on reading. I read a chapter and then I took a break, and then I read a chapter a few days later, you know, like I was reading some, so I didn't finish that book, unfortunately. And the next prompt that I got was blue cover, and I chose 1001 Nights, and I did not finish. I didn't even like make it to the halfway point. I say that in order for me to not take a punishment for a book and to mark it off as read for a month, I have to have made it at around 50% into the book, 100 if it's a very long book. Like, depending on the length of the book, it's either at least 100 pages or at least 50% of the book. Depends. But I did not make it for this one. The last prompt that I got was Indigenous author, so I read Himla Brand and I did finish it. So this leaves us with 2 books that I didn't finish for my August TBR. So I went to Twitter. Because usually when I do these TBR videos, I do them the week before the next month, so like the last week of a month I do this video, but this time it's the 3rd of August, the 3rd of September today. So I really waited for as long as I could in order, like, in case I would finish one of these 2 books, then I wouldn't have taken a punishment prompt for nothing, basically. As the end of the month crept closer, I went to Twitter and I asked, like, I did a poll, do you think that I should take punishment prompts because I was in a reading slump, or should I just have these 2 books rolled over to September as the punishment? And most people, thank you so much for voting for me to just roll them over. So I'm not taking a punishment prompt. Instead, I'm going to continue with 1001 Nights as well as Heather and count them as part of my TBR for September as well. So I'm very happy about that. So that's 2 books directly on my September TBR. But then for September, I'm not going to participate in a readathon or read along or anything like that. But I did create a reading challenge for myself and for everyone who wanted to do it. And it's an autumn reading challenge. It's a bingo board, looks like this. And the point is to just, for the autumn months, read books for the prompts on the bingo board. That's it. So I'm going to try to fill this out in September, October, and November. So I have these 3 months to just tick books off with the prompts. And the good thing about this bingo board is that I can basically fit almost anything on there. I'm going to, as I pick the books, after I have picked the books for YaTBRzy, I'm going to connect those to prompts on the bingo board. So, and also because I didn't finish every single book on my YaTBRzy TBR for August, I'm not taking a book buying prompt. Yeah, unfortunately. But I did have, like, when I did my unhaul hauling video, I am hauling books. I'm waiting for those. So let's play YaTBRzy. Roll number 1 for September. Should I attempt a big straight? Let's attempt a big straight. I got a small straight. Okay, 2 5s. I will take that on 2. So I think doing 2, because I already have like 5 points here over... You say that having 3 dice of the different kind, it's good to get it here. I think that's like the average. In order to get a bonus, you need 3 of each. Like 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, and so on. So I do think with 5 extra for 5, I can just do 2 there. I hope, at least. But that's a yellow card. So the first prompt for September is royalty. Ooh. So the first prompt that I got was royalty. So for the prompt royalty, I am going to do a little bit of a stretch, I think, because I'm choosing the Wicker King, because King is a royalty person. I don't know if this actually has royalty in it, but King is a royal word. I am hesitant going into this book because I didn't love The Weight of the Stars. That is also by Kay Ancrum. I gave that book 2 stars and I thought it was going to be 5 stars. At least 4 stars. I really thought that that book was gonna be on like one of my favorite, you know, queer books going forward, and it was such... Yeah, I really didn't enjoy it. So I'm really hesitant going into this because the other book by her got 2 stars. So what if I hated this as well? I don't know. But this is for King, for royalty. This is the first book on my September TBR. Second roll for September. Oh, wow. Of course I'm keeping the 6s. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I'm very happy that I just did 2 here. So that is 30 here. That means that I'm already at a bonus. But that's a red card because that is the highest possible. So the number is 36. Then we got ourselves a red card and the number is 36. So the way that this always goes is I'm going to count to number 36 on my bookshelves. And if I don't like that, then I will pick on my digital TBR spread on my reading journal. Or if I don't like that either, then I can just go to my Goodreads and see number 36. But then we're gonna count the books. So number 36 here was The Power. So I'm going to go with The Power. This won the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2017, and it has some critical acclaim. What I know about this book is that this is basically a world where women have power, and it's a feminist book. Don't really know more than that, but it sounds intriguing. Third roll for September. So we have 3 3s, 1 4, and 1 1. All I need is a big straight, a 1, and chance. Should I attempt a big straight then? And if it goes bad, I would just put it on chance. That's too bad because I had 3 3s, but I don't need the other one. 2. And then last roll for a 5 and a 6. This fell off, so I'm rolling it again. And it's a 6. So it didn't really matter because I failed. So that I'm gonna put on chance. So that is 17 on chance. And that is a yellow card. Male. And the next prompt is male. Male, so M/M means an Achillean book, a book with a pairing that is male and male. And 2 days ago, I got a package from Amazon that Charlotte had gifted me. And one book that she gifted me was this book, this manga, which is called My Summer Review. This is BL, so this is a boys love manga, which is a male manga. Oh shit. And I just really, as I was just in a reading slump, this couldn't have come at a better time, and it sounds really great. I've been looking forward to reading this, so thank you so much, Charlotte. And this is what I'll be reading for the prompt male.
4 for all. Okay, 3, 4, 5. I'm attempting big straight again. 2, and then all we need is a 6, and I got another 4. Okay, then I'm crossing out big straight, and that is a blue card because I crossed something out, so we get a punishment. Non-Swedish book set in Sweden. Wow.
Then we ended up with a punishment prompt after all, and the punishment prompt is non-Swedish book set in Sweden. The reason that this is a punishment is because it's such a cringy thing for me. I read a book called 14 Little Blue Envelopes, I think, and it was really cute. It was nice. I wasn't in a good place mentally, so it was, you know, like a nice book to read, traveling for Europe, an American traveling for Europe. And she had like these envelopes with letters that she was supposed to open at these specific places. And she went to Denmark and opened a letter, and it said, "You can't go further north than Scandinavia." And I had to pause the book and take a walk. I was so frustrated. She was in Denmark, and the letter said that she couldn't go further north than Scandinavia. She was in Denmark. You can't go further north than Scandinavia when she's in Denmark. Like, first of all, Scandinavia and the Nordic are not the same. Iceland is clearly north of Scandinavia, because Iceland isn't part of Scandinavia. Iceland is Nordic. But like Sweden, Norway, Finland, Iceland, I don't know. All of those are north of Denmark. Denmark doesn't even have mountains or forests. But I guess you can't go further north than Denmark. I was so frustrated by that. That was clearly not written by a Nordic person, or probably not even a European person. That frustrated me to no end. There has been more examples of that, with Swedish characters being portrayed in specifically American literature that have just not acted at all. Like, a lot of, I think, Americans think that all Europeans are similar, that a Swedish character would, you know, hug and kiss on cheeks the way that some Southern European cultures do. But we don't. Like, we are like, strangers, stay as far away from me as possible. We're more like that. We value personal space in Sweden. So that was a very long explanation to why this is a punishment. This was very difficult to find. I found a lot of books with Swedish characters written, like Swedish main characters written by American authors, but none of them were set in Sweden. This says set in Sweden. And I didn't have a book that fit that anyway. So I went on Google and tried to find a book that fit this. And the funny thing is, I found a book. It's a non-fiction book, but I think it sounds hilarious, in the meaning that I will think this is a lot of fun to read. And the book is The Almost Nearly Perfect People. And it is about the Nordic people. And it kind of looks into the Nordic people and how others perceive the Nordic countries versus what the Nordic countries are actually like in reality. And I thought it's gonna be a lot of fun to see my country and my neighbors through a non-Nordic lens. That's gonna be a lot of fun. So even though this prompt was meant as a punishment, me reading, oh my god, how can they write Swedes like this, I don't know, into a non-fiction, It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm actually looking forward to reading this punishment prompted book. Then last roll.
Then I'm gonna just keep the ones. And 2 more ones, and then last roll. Another one. So that is 4 ones going there. So this is 73, meaning I get a bonus for the first time this year. And that means I get one of these. So I get to roll for one of these. And I get a 2. So I get the advantage card roll again, which just means that if the dice are not in your favor, roll a 4th time. So that is my advantage card. And because I got 4 ones, the last prompt for September is a yellow card, and it's white cover.
And then we're on to the last prompt, which was white cover. This might be a stretch. We love stretching on this channel. For the prompt white cover, I'm going to read a book with a gray, a light pale gray on the cover, and it's Magic of Blood and Sea. I have been really excited about reading this since Charlotte put up a video. It was like 25 reasons to read it, and I was really intrigued. It has pirates. Need I say more? But this has a very pale, you know, light gray cover. And so for white cover, I'm going to read this because gray is basically dark white. I am so good at coming up with loopholes. But this is what I'm reading. It has pirates in it. I have been in such a mood to read this book for the past half a year. Yeah, I'm just really been wanting to read pirate books and watching pirates. It's so nostalgic to me. You know, I'm really excited to read this. So these are the 4 physical books that I'm going to read, as well as the Almost Nearly Perfect People, but also the 2 books rolled over from August, 1001 Nights, as well as Heather. So those are 7 books that I'm going to read for YaTBRzy. So now we're going to put them onto my bingo board. Other than those 7 books that I just brought up, there are 2 other books that I want to read that I'm currently reading, with that I have started. One is The Gauntlet. I started this. I read, how many pages did I read? Almost 50 pages, and I felt from the first page, this is gonna be 5 stars. And then I had so many like other books that I had to read, so I put this on pause, and then I was in a reading slump. But now I'm not counting this as September TBR per se. I'm just counting it as my autumn TBR. So for like the bingo board. The other book that I also want to add for the bingo board is Ocean Vuong's An Earth for Briefly Gorgeous. I started tabbing this. I'm not that far into it, and I tabbed so much. Yeah, so these 2 I'm also going to include. But we're going to start off with the books I'm already reading for September. So 1001 Nights, I'm counting for gold foil. In my summer review, I'm going to count as manga or graphic novel. All of these books I can count as multiple, but I don't want to do that yet. I would rather mark them off as multiple, like 2 books. I'm not feeling like 1 book can fit more than 2 prompts. That's just me. But those 2 can fit more than 1 prompt, but I'm just saying 1 prompt for them right now. Then for the Wicker King could also have been gold foil. I'm going to count this as paranormal because I know that it has something paranormal with it. I mean, the first line up here is, he sees another world, but is it real? So obviously paranormal. Okay, we're gonna change that. This, spooky. I'm choosing this for spooky and this for paranormal instead. Then we have Magic of Blood and Sea. I'm going to count this as book about moving because they're moving on the ocean because they're pirates. Yeah. Then we go to Heather. And I'm going to count Heather as short book because it's not even 200 pages long. And I don't think the nonfiction book about Nordic countries can fit. Then we go to the books that I'm currently reading that I want to do for autumn, not specifically September, but autumn. So The Gauntlet, I'm going to read this as a fantasy. This is kind of like Jumanji. We have these kids who end up playing this game called The Gauntlet, and it's so cool. It's a mechanical steampunk game, and I love steampunk, and it's just amazing, honestly. It was such Middle Eastern desert vibes. I really love this. I really love this. I don't remember that much of what has happened, but I can't wait to continue this. And it's a fantasy, so I'm reading it for that prompt. And then the last book is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. Guess which prompt this will fulfill. What about this book looks like it belongs in an autumn TBR? I'm reading this for leaves on the cover, obviously. It's such an autumn vibey book. Look at those leaves and the stars. It's beautiful. But this is such a bingeable book. It's beautifully written. I need more orange tabs for this book. But it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So here we have the books I'm reading for September. And then a few more books I'm reading for autumn. But yeah, I hope that I will no longer be in a reading slump. Let's start with that, and we'll see how well all of that goes. And regarding my bingo board, I haven't gone through all of the books that I would love to read for autumn. There are a lot more books here that I would love to read for autumn. I just wanted to go through the books that I am either currently reading or planning to read for September specifically. If you want an autumn TBR, let me know and I will make that happen. But other than that, this is my reading plan for September, and then 2 books for autumn. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good time reading or doing anything, that you're having a good time regardless of what you're doing. And I will see you next time. Good reading. Bye.